Chapter 17, Lily! The voice was loud, sharp. Her grandmother was standing at the other end of the road, hand shading her eyes. Caught. Lily stood there deciding what to do. Then she handed the rolled-up towel with the picture to Albert. Don't drop it, she whispered. Lily! The voice came again. What? She stood there. She didn't move. Graham always wanted her to come when she called, as if she were a cat. Lily! She gritted her teeth. Hold on to that with your life, Albert. She started back along the path toward Graham, biting her lip as the gravel jabbed into her feet. It's hard to believe you're walking all over the place wearing that bathing suit, Graham said as soon as Lily got close enough to hear. And where are your shoes? Any minute you're going to get a splinter. Blood poison next. Besides, she rushed in, you look like a hoyden. I don't know what people will think. Hayden? Lily didn't even know what it meant. She sighed a huge sigh. Let Graham see. She thought she was acting like a pain. I'm going swimming. At the fishing dock? Well, it's time to practice the piano, Lily. I'm not, Lily began. Yes, Graham said. Your father spent all that money to bring that piano here all the way from St. Albans. For you. Poppy doesn't care. Lily shifted from one foot to the other. A stone was digging right toward her skin into her bones. Graham was right. She was going to end up with blood poisoning. And Margaret was never going to get Eddie's picture. You were the one who wanted the piano lessons, Graham said. Lily could see beads of perspiration on Graham's upper lip. It was as hot as a blister, and they were probably going to stand there arguing forever. Graham was right, though. The piano lessons were all her idea. But that was last winter. How was she to know that it took forever to learn the piano? That you couldn't even play a decent song like Marzie Dotes or Swingin' on a Star unless you spent your whole life sitting at the piano bench while everyone else in the world was. Will you stop daydreaming, Lily? Graham said. Get yourself home. Change out of that bathing suit and practice for half an hour. Lily didn't wait to hear the rest. Head up, she marched up the road and headed for home. She threw the bathing suit on the shower floor, put on a pair of shorts and a top, and went to the piano bench. The back door closed a moment later. Graham was home. Lily looked up at the old alarm clock on top of the piano. 1 o'clock. She watched the hands for a while. It almost seemed as if they weren't moving. She stood up and put her ear next to it. It was still ticking, but slowly. It would take forever to get to 1:30. Lily? Graham called from the kitchen. She curled her fingers over the keys and started in on the C scale. At the same time, she looked out the window. The sea was tinged with green. Her father would say it had something to do with algae. There was only the slightest swell now. A perfect afternoon to teach Albert to swim. She closed her eyes, picturing the troop ship they had seen, huge and ghostly in the mist. For a moment she thought about what it would be like if they could do it. Wouldn't it be something if they could get the rowboat close enough to swim the last few feet, the last few yards? Wouldn't it be something if she could teach Albert to swim well enough for that? Even if he could just keep himself afloat? She could help him. And even if it wasn't Poppy's ship, it would be going to Europe. Albert could get to Ruth and she... Graham was standing at the living room door. What are you daydreaming about? She asked. Lily frowned. How much I hate this piano? Just try, Graham said. You can do anything if you really work at it, and you love music. Lily didn't answer. She started the C scale over and didn't look up until Graham was rattling around the kitchen again. You can do anything. Could she? What was she thinking of anyway? What she had to be doing was getting Eddie's picture wrapped and mailed before the post office closed at 4. Instead, she was stuck in front of the piano, the keys a little dusty with the John Thompson book in front of her. She played the C scale as loudly as she could, up and down, faster, faster. It made a terrific noise. She could hear Graham bang a cabinet door shut. Lily was probably driving her crazy. Terrific. She played around with her band, her hand down low at the bass, making up some Hazel Scott boogie music as she went along. Lily, back to the C scale, the loudest C scale anyone had ever heard. Nothing from the kitchen. Lily began to flip through the John Thompson book. Etudes, mazurkas, whatever they were, waltzes, the Blue Danube. She picked the music out with one finger. Da, 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 dum. She knew that. She'd heard it before, and that was Albert's River. She leaned over to reach Graham's atlas in the bookshelf. It was heavy and smelled of the attic in St. Albans. She put it down next to her on the bench and went through the pages. A, Africa, Antilles. G, Germany. That was the place. It showed a little of Hungary on the edge, and there was H, Hungary, 2 pages later. She tried to spot Budapest or the Danube River, but all she could find were a bunch of black lines wandering up and down on a yellow blotch that looked like a piece of a puzzle. In the center of the book was a map of the whole world. She ran her finger across it, from Hungary to Austria to Switzerland to France. She smiled a little. Madeline in the book had been there. She remembered that. Madeline was in Paris, and so was Ruth. Lily started in on the blue Danube again with one finger of her right hand and added some dum-dums with the left. Footsteps were coming around the side of the house. She stood up, still playing, as the top of Albert's head passed the window, then backed up as his face came into view. I thought we were going to. He held up the rolled-up towel. Lily, are you playing? Graham called. Hold your horses, Lily told Albert. I can't get out of here for another 22 minutes. Lily, Graham called again. Lily stretched up on the bench to get a good look at Albert. Besides, she told him, I've got a surprise for you. Listen to what I'm playing. It's for you special. She plunked herself down on the bench again and began to play the Blue Danube as nicely as she could. After a minute, she heard a noise. Was that Albert laughing again? She ended the Blue Danube with a crash and began the C scale again. She could hear Graham at the back door telling Albert to come in for some iced tea while he waited. Good grief. She opened the John Thompson book to the piece she knew best, the piece she had played 1,000,000 times last winter. She could hear Graham and Albert talking in the kitchen. The clock wasn't moving. She began to play. She hit the wrong note with her left pinky. It sounded horrible. For a minute, there was silence in the kitchen. Lily went back to the C scale, played it one last time, but softly now, as if she knew what she was doing. Then she slid off the seat and went into the kitchen. Albert and Graham were talking about music, but not about the piano, about violin music. Albert was telling Graham about the lessons he had taken, and Graham, her head to one side, was listening and nodding. Come on, Albert, Lily said, feeling ready to scream. We've got stuff to do. Remember, we can't hang around here all day.